Joining me now is Karol Markowicz, New York Post columnist and host of The Karol Markowicz Show, which I urge you to go out and listen to. Karol, thanks for joining me tonight on the U.S. Report. I want to start with one of our favorite lefties, MSNBC host Jen Psaki. Now, in a podcast this week, she revealed that MSNBC viewers only tune in to watch coverage of President Trump that is typically not going to be positive. Psaki went on to say, and we're also going to talk about Trump, and it's typically not going to be positive. I don't think anybody watching expects it to be positive, right? There's not like a North Star thing written on a card and everybody does it slightly differently, but I think that's the vibe. Are we finally having this thing where the left says the quiet part out loud about their feelings and coverage of Trump, and that it just has to be relentlessly negative because that's what their people want to hear?
I think that's absolutely right. Thank you so much for having me on. Jen Psaki is saying what everybody already knows in that they can only say negative things about Donald Trump. If she suddenly liked a Donald Trump policy, she couldn't admit it on the air. She would get absolutely in so much trouble for that with the audience, maybe even with her superiors at the network. My friend Dave Rubin refers to MSNBC as a televised mental asylum, and that's really how I see them. They're in a bad place. It's constant anger over there. They're yelling at each other. They're yelling at the audience. They're disappointed in us all. And I think that, it's bad that they spur their audience on in this way, that they are so negative, and the audience takes this into their real lives and maybe is negative to the next person that they meet in real life. And it's really a problem.
Absolutely right. And, they always say the right are the angry people, but, turn on MSNBC, right. You're going to see the real anger over there. Hey, I want to ask you, too, because there's been new polling numbers revealed this week that has showed Democrats' support. Well, it's cratering everywhere, but particularly among young Americans, it is hitting a new low with just 23% of young Americans saying that they approve of the Democrat Party, down from 48% 5 years ago. This would have to be ringing serious alarm bells because, of course, the Democrats have always relied on the young people supporting them before they grew up and got to know better.
Right. They destroyed the brand. They made it about things that nobody cares about, or they took the wrong side of issues that people do care about. The young people who, let's say that they're fairly pro-LGBT, but they don't think that it's appropriate for a trans boy, a boy to play in girls' sports. So I think that they really messed themselves up, and they've gone way too far on too many issues, and they've made the brand toxic. My 12-year-old son, when he wants to insult me, calls me a liberal. And so this is where we are right now.
Well, that's some great parenting win there, Karol. I think that's really good. But I mean, there's a
kind of biting myself.
But isn't the bigger problem too that the Democrats also don't have anything in a positive agenda except for stop Trump? So I mean, they're looking at this and they say, well, there's nothing positive to vote for. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. And I think that that's a tough ask for them right now. What could they really stand for? And what they're ultimately going to end up coming up with, and I know you know this, is they're going to figure out ways to hand out money to their supporters. This is the Democratic plan. Often they often run on things like ending, student loans, for example, which the Supreme Court in the United States told them specifically that they could not do. And then they had to work around, and they did it anyway. So they're always figuring out ways to send money to the people who vote for them. And that's going to be the plan going forward, I have to imagine.
Well, you should see the Australian election that's going on right now for a model of that. But that's another story for another show. I want to talk also, though, about what's happening at the Environmental Protection Agency, where they have finally moved to fire or reassign employees who are working on environmental justice programs. Now, this is part of the EPA's new boss, Lee Zeldin's push to eliminate DEI programs that came in under the Biden-Harris administration. This seems like a great move, but tell me, what is environmental justice? I thought that there was just justice or injustice.
Right. No. See, that was your first mistake. Obviously, there's environmental justice. Obviously, minorities and women are hardest hit by climate change, allegedly. It's all a boondoggle. It's all a way, to spend money paying people who they like. And so environmental justice, I'm sure they brought in lots of left-leaning consultants and lots of people in leftist activist groups to teach them how to fight this environmental injustice. And so you have this ongoing thing where Americans keep learning about all the ways that the Biden administration and so many other administrations before them spent money in such a ridiculous fashion on such absurd things. And I'm so glad that this has become a priority for the Trump administration. I'm not always going to agree with the Trump administration, but this kind of thing, cutting down on the nonsense, making sure that the money is spent somewhere in a sane fashion, I'm all for it.
Absolutely right. Yeah, this is the stuff that he really got elected on, and this is, I think, the real bread and butter stuff for this administration. Hey, before I let you go, former First Lady Michelle Obama has spoken this week about the criticism she received after not attending President Trump's inauguration. Here's what she had to say.
My decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like, people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
And it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me.
Karol, what strikes me here is the incredible narcissism of this clip. You know, that she can't just go and do what protocol requires. She's having a tantrum and saying, no, 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 it's what I wanted to do.
Right. I'm going to try this sometime. I'm going to say that it's taking everything in my power to not do what is supposed to, the right thing. And if I don't want to do something, I'm going to make a whole show of how I'm supporting myself and really doing the right thing for myself and all of that. And I'm going to try to use that sometime. I just can't have my husband start to use it, because he's going to get out of events that we need to go to and try to go golfing. And I can't have him not doing the right thing. So thanks, Michelle Obama.
Karol Markowicz, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.